Tom Wilson came into the whiskey and he only heard us play one song. Only heard us play Trouble Coming Every Day. MGM Records, Verve Records. We're looking for a band that was sort of like maybe the Rolling Stones. American band that was that would play that kind of music, and Trouble Coming Every Day, he thought he had the band. Yeah. So we got into the studio, and the first song we played in the recording studio was Who Are the Brain Police? And he was on the phone to the main office in New York City saying, we didn't hire a blues band, we didn't sign a blues band here. I'm not sure what kind of band we signed, but we didn't sign a blues band.
Do you think you regretted it later?
No. Tom Wilson was a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. Really good guy. No, I don't think he ever regretted it, because he started a whole thing. The Mothers of Invention's music it was recorded over 40 years ago. You know that.
Yeah.
It came out Freak Out came out in 1966. Last year it was 40th year anniversary of Freak Out. I still get emails and comments on MySpace and on my website from young kids, 21 years old, 20 years old, that just can't believe Freak Out, man. I write them back and say, shit, man. That was 20 years before you were even born. That was recorded. So that music is timeless. It's still as fresh now as it was when it came out. The band was truly ahead of its time.
Is Freak Out your favorite Mothers of Invention record?
No. I like it a lot, but no, it's not my favorite. My favorite one is Cruising with Ruben and the Jets.
Without the new drums and the bass, of course. What did you think?
The original.
Yeah. What did you think of it when you heard the first?
I thought it was bullshit. Why did he do that for? He said the tapes were ruined. Well, Ryko Disc put out We're Only In It for the Money the Right Way again. You know, he put that out also with those other two guys playing on it. Why didn't he ask me and Roy Estrada to come and play? We're the original guys that did it anyway. I mean, we would have gone in the studio and redone it.
Yeah.
Either that or get all new musicians and re-record the record, but don't put it out as the Mothers of Invention. Put it out as Frank Zappa with all those new musicians. You know, you're going to re-release the old material because that's what the bands wanted, was the old stuff. The real Mothers of Invention fans were all upset about it. But you see, he didn't ask us because we don't count. He wrote the songs, but he didn't play the songs. He wrote the songs. He didn't play the drums. He didn't play the bass. He didn't play all the other instruments. We played those, not him. He only played guitar.
When he disbanded the Mothers, I don't know exactly what happened around that time.
We don't either. We don't know why he did it.
But you had just been on a tour or something, yeah?
Great tour, man. It was a very successful tour. I guess it's successful when the place is packed wherever you're playing. Sold out, that means that it's successful. To me, it is. he really screwed up, man. When he refused, he didn't want to. We got invited to do Woodstock. The Mothers got invited to do Woodstock. And Frank said, I don't want to play for a bunch of hippies, and there's not going to be anybody there anyway. We've been home about 1 week, and I got a call from him on the telephone. It wasn't even in person. Now, we were talking about just nothing in particular for about 15 minutes, just bullshitting. And then he said, oh, by the way, I've decided to disband the band. Your salaries have stopped as of last week.
How did you react to that?
Well, he hung up after that. I didn't get a chance to react to him. I called the rest of the guys, and they said, we just got a phone call from him. Basically did the same thing to them, which to me was very, very cold. Not even telling you in person.
The next few years, what happened then?
Well, he tried, about 6 months later, he tried to get the band back together to do this thing with Zubin Mehta. It was actually part of the music that was in 200 Motels. Tried to get us back together, and nobody in the band wanted to do it. The way he broke the band up turned everybody off to him. It wasn't a good move on his part to do it the way he did it.
A few of you guys, you went back and did the movie 200 Motels.
I went and did 200 Motels. When he asked me, I didn't do it for him. And I damn sure didn't do it for the money, because the money wasn't very good. But I wanted to see if I could get into acting.
Oh.
Why not? A golden opportunity here to do that. And so I took it. And I never regretted doing that, although it really didn't do shit for my movie career.
It wasn't a blockbuster movie.
Although I can tell you one thing, it's still being played right now.
In theaters?
Mm-hmm. There's a theater in, I think it's in Hollywood or Santa Monica or one of those places. Still do a midnight show once a week at 200 Motels, like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm sure there are guys come dressed like Jimmy Carl Black, that Lonesome Cowboy Bird.
Yeah. Did you like the movie?
Since I got married, which was 10 years ago, to this German woman who's the biggest Zappa fan I ever met in my life, that was a female, I've had to watch that movie at least 60 or 70 times. And until I married her, I'd seen the movie only 2 times. When it first came out, 2 or 3 times I saw it, and that's all. I just saw it 2 weeks ago again.
Sounds familiar. I think a lot of Zappa fans are like that. I've terrorized my family for 10 years.
My wife, she's crazy about it.
But it's understandable.
I don't know why it's understandable.
I don't know if it's the same way with the fans of other bands, but there's a lot of people seem obsessed by this stuff. So
hardcore Zappa fans are really obsessive. Let's put it that way. Sometimes it makes me really laugh, man. I can't help it.
What's the worst example you've encountered?
What do you mean?
Well, the worst example of an obsessive fan.
I had a guy one time in Texas, and he came up and said, man, I saw you playing in 1972 with Frank. I was there at the concert the night that he took the shit on the stage and ate it. When he said that, I knew that this guy was fucking crazy. First of all, Zappa might have gotten somebody else to do that, but he's not ever going to do anything like that. And second of all, in 1972, I wasn't even in the band anymore. So how could I have been there? I couldn't convince the guy. I said, man, I wasn't even in the band. You were there, man. I saw you. You were there, and you remember when he did it. He took a shit on the stage and ate it. That was the end of that story.
Well, it's a good example.
And probably not the only example, probably many similar examples to that. Some of these guys really bug me sometimes. You know, they get too fanatic. But what was Zappa really like, man? Tell me what Zappa was really like. I gotta know what he was really like. Well, he was just a normal guy. No, but what was Zappa really like, man? Tell me. Now, come on, he wasn't a normal guy. How could he be a normal? He did tons of drugs. You can't convince him. You can't tell him what he was really like, and he was a normal guy that didn't do drugs. He didn't even drink beer or alcohol. Nothing. In the early days, he didn't. I think toward the end, at least he drank a little alcohol, drank a little wine. Because I remember one time, I think it was 1981, I had just done the album, You Are What You Is, with him, and he played in Albuquerque. I was living in Albuquerque, New Mexico at that time, and he played a gig there. It was one of the first gigs of a tour, and he asked me to sit in and sing Harder Than Your Husband with the band, and I did. And he said, come on backstage before I went on. Have a glass of wine with me. I said, well, you know, at that time I wasn't drinking anymore. I had quit. I think for 5 or 6 years I didn't drink anything, no alcohol. And that was at that time. So I'm sorry, Frank, but I'm on the wagon. Okay. It's all right. He was cool. Most of the time he was cool.